So you've submitted so many resumes and applied to so many medical coding positions, but you have yet to land your first medical coding job. If that's you, then in this video, I am going to share with you 3 reasons why you have not landed your first medical coding position. And number 3 is my favorite, so I suggest you stick around so you can hear about it. What's up, everyone? My name is Kat, and I am a certified professional medical coder, certified professional medical auditor, medical biller, and owner of Superior Medical Consulting, where we provide superior billing solutions for your private practice. You can visit our website at superiormedicalconsulting.com to schedule your free consultation today. And this is Level Up Medical Coding. Okay, so you landed on this video because you're probably in the boat of many medical coders that are about to be certified or are newly certified and out there in the job market trying to land their first medical coding job. I hear the frustration in you guys' voice and you guys' posts about being credentialed, putting in all this work, spending all this money, but yet every job that you apply for says they want experience. The thing about that is a lot of newly credentialed coders think of experience as they want medical coding experience, which is true, but there's also other experiences that you already possess that makes you a qualified candidate for those positions. You just have to know how to hone in on those skills and that experience and play it up a little bit. So in this video, like I said, I want to share 3 reasons why you have not landed your first medical coding job. So we're going to go ahead and start off with number 1. So the first reason why your medical coding career hasn't taken off yet is because you are not taking advantage of networking. Networking is key in our profession. In order for you to hear those jobs that are not being advertised or getting the first dibs, so to speak, on a job is because you're not attending your chapter meetings, or you're not attending any virtual meetings, or you're not utilizing AAPC's job board. Your chapter is there to support your career. Not only are they there to sell you products like new credentials, coding companion books, webinars, things of that nature, they are also there to help you with leads on jobs. AAPC has a really great job board that you should be utilizing. Some of the jobs that is on the AAPC job board specify that no experience is necessary. So if you are not taking a look at AAPC's job board, I don't know what you're doing. You're not really that serious, because as a medical coder, you should utilize all your avenues, especially when you are trying to obtain that first job, because we know how hard it is to kind of break into our field. These organizations is your ticket to networking. Everyone that's a part of these organizations are professionals. They're professional billers, they're professional coders, they're professional practice managers, they're professional revenue cycle managers, they're professional compliance, auditors, so many different types of professionals that are a part of this organization. When you go to meetings and you just talk to different people, let them know that you're in the job market, let them know that you're looking. A lot of times just with conversation, you get leads, or a lot of times you will be talking maybe to a manager of a billing office that's happened to be looking for someone that they can train. Contrary to popular belief, every manager that I have worked for has always expressed the fact that they love newly credentialed coders, because even though this is kind of taboo to say, but in our world, we get so caught up on this is how we've always done things. It's really hard for us to retrain our mind when you are a seasoned coder to a new process or procedure. On the other hand, A newly certified coder is very green to the field, have not had any experiences and had the time to have old processes or old ways to make things work get embedded in their everyday, day-to-day tasks, that they are moldable or trainable. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean that you are fresh. You have a fresh set of eyes, fresh ideas. You're open to any and everything. You don't really know what was done in the past to kind of compare it to your new train, how you're being trained now. So it's just like a blank slate. And managers love that. They love being able to take their coders and train them in the way that they want things done for today's medical world, as opposed to when a seasoned coder first got credentialed in 1998 and still trying to do the same old thing from 1998 in 2024. So that's tip number one. Utilize your networks, utilize your chapters, your local health fairs, any professional networking that you can get a part of. So that takes us to number two. Now, I'm sure you're already a professional of some sort. You probably have excellent customer service skills. You probably have great organizational skills. You probably are good with time management. You probably are a team player. You probably work well independently. You probably are a go-getter. You probably are a project manager. You probably are all of those things. So use that to your advantage. A lot of times when we are doing our resumes, we are not playing up keywords that are relevant to our field. As medical coders, we are expected to be very organized because things change a lot in our field. So we need to have exceptional organizational skills in order to keep up and implement the changes. Because sometimes, even though they may give us a heads up and we have a certain date that things have to be implemented, sometimes it's not on your radar. And by the time you found out that a change was made, it's already made and you need to switch up on a dime to implement those new processes. So if you are a person that works well in a fast-paced environment, if you are a person that can adapt well to change, all of those things are relevant to medical coding. My suggestion is when you are crafting your resume, each resume should be crafted very specifically and strategically according to the job that you are applying for. Now, this takes a lot of time. I'm not going to lie to you. But what I would do is if I saw a position that I was interested in, I'll go and read the job summary, the qualifications, anything that tells me what these particular companies are looking for. And if I know that I possess some of those skills or some of those expertise, although they may not be coding related, they are very well professional development related. So I would implement those keywords into my resume to kind of zhuzh it up, to kind of spice it up so that I can be one of at least the relevant candidates when the recruiter is like pulling applications, pulling resumes. You need to strategically sprinkle buzzwords and keywords throughout your resume, because one thing that I have heard is that a lot of time recruiters use sort of like AI software that when they know that a certain position demands certain things like time management, and a person that says that they are very comfortable working with a deadline, if they are a person that gets along in a team, if they are a person that is a great researcher, those types of buzzwords, recruiters will have a way that they can just kind of pull keywords like that in order to further consider your resume. So each resume that you submit should be unique to each position that you apply for, even each position in the same organization. So say, for example, you see a hospital and they are hiring for a coder 1 position. They may be hiring for a coder 2 position, and they may be hiring for a biller. A lot of times what we would do is just encompass all that on one resume, submit that same resume to all 3 positions. Don't do that. Look to see if there are differences within each one of those qualifications or job expectations, and tweak your resume to sound like you're the only candidate that should be considered for this Coder 1 position. I possess a different set of skills if it relates to my Coder 2 position. And I encompass a totally different set of skills when it comes to that billing position. Now, all of those skills may be similar and somewhat the same, but if you tweak your resume to ensure that each position that you apply for, the resume is specific for that position, then you will have a greater success at your resume getting chosen to at least be reviewed and to come in for the interview. So, number 2 would be to make sure you maximize and strategically place keywords in your resume to play up your other skills outside of regular medical coding. When you're new in the medical coding field, when you first credential, of course you don't have experience. Of course you don't. Who expects you to have experience? We all were new coders. We all got in somehow. We all was fresh out of school. We all had to apply for jobs. Someone gave us all a chance. But the reason why they did that is because of the way our resume was crafted, or because we networked very, very strategically and we ended up getting a chance to get hired for a position. You guys want a story time on how I got my first job? I'm sure I've told this story on here, but I can tell it again because it definitely was a blessing. I'll put it that way. So number 3, and this is my favorite reason of all why you are not landing your first medical coding job. You have not landed your first medical coding job because you refuse to accept an entry-level position.
You refuse to accept an entry-level position.
Now, I'm just going to be blunt and tell y'all, when I first got into this field, I wasn't even thinking about being a medical coder. I just needed a job. I applied for a lot of jobs based on what I thought the skills that I possess. I came across a job for working in the claims department. I had worked loosely in claims prior to this, so I naively thought, I got that experience. But I'm so very well versed in how to strategically write a resume that I think that was my leg up in getting the position, because I made it sound like I had more exposure to claims than I did. Even though I was truthful, I put the years of experience I had, I put everything that I've done, but I very well picked the keywords in that job application or in that job description that I possessed and placed it in my resume strategically. So yeah, so when I got called back, asked if I wanted to do an interview, I pretty much knew that I was a top candidate for the job because I tend to interview very well. But it was an entry-level position. It was a position in the billing department. Billing is, considered an entry-level position because you do not have to have a certification to become a medical biller. It's encouraged, but it's not necessary. You do not have to have a degree, a college degree, to be a medical biller. It's encouraged, but it's not necessary. So it's an entry-level position. I've said this time and time again on my channel that I know a medical coder that started off in the cafeteria. She was in the hospital, worked in the cafeteria, and she was a good talker. And she had a great relationship with a lot of the providers that would come down and get their lunch. A lot of the people that was in the business office that would come down and get their lunch. And she kind of talked her way into getting a job in the coding department before she was even certified. This was back when you didn't really have to be certified, when certifications wasn't the norm. But once she got the position, they actually paid for her to go to school to get her certification. So she kind of learned on the job, but she was blessed enough to get a job just because she, one, networked, and two, took an entry-level position because she had a bigger vision. Now, I know for a fact, because I know this person personally, that her end goal was never to work in the cafeteria. I don't know if it was always to end up in coding, but she ended up in coding, and she's been there for the last 20 years. So she obviously loves it. But that entry-level position got her in, just like that entry-level position got me in. I started off as a claims adjudicator, which I wasn't doing nothing but basically data entry. Looking at a claim, entering what was on the claim into the system. I eventually got a position in the billing department. And then when I learned what coding was, I went ahead and went for my coding certification. And I had my manager that was in the billing department actually vouch for me to help me transfer to the coding department. So entry-level positions, not only does it get you into the medical, to the health systems ecosystem, it also allows you to establish relationships with maybe supervisors and management teams that will encourage you to move on to greater heights in your career, and they can also vouch for your work ethic. Entry-level positions are not the end-all be-all, are not your stopping point. They are actually your entry into this coding field. It's a very slept-on strategy to become a medical coder, because I understand when you get your certification, you pay however much thousands to train for this position, to train for this career. You done paid a couple hundred to take your exam. You done paid a couple more hundred to get your membership going. And the last thing you want to do is accept a job making less than what you feel like you deserve after you put in all this time and financial effort. But you don't have the experience as a coder, so you have to at least learn the revenue cycle. In my experience, in my opinion, when you become a medical biller, you become an excellent medical coder. So try to get a medical billing job. If that doesn't help, think outside of the HIM department. Think outside of that. Think cafeteria. Think hospitality. Think housekeeping. Think registration also. Think follow-up. Think payment posting. Think anything that's inside and outside of the revenue cycle, but that's in a healthcare ecosystem. And I'm sure that it will help excel your career. Those are my 3 reasons why you have not landed your first medical coding job. I think if you go back and you be strategic about your job search and hone in on the 3 things that we discussed: networking, especially with your chapters at APC or HEMA; 2, crafting your resume in a strategic way that you use keywords and you hype up your other skills, such as your organizational skills, being a great researcher, paying attention to detail, being very organized, things of that nature. That will help. And last but not least, in my favorite way to get into this field, is accepting an entry-level position that's in the healthcare ecosystem, no matter what that position. I know a coder that started in the mail room. She passed out the mail to the different departments, was interested in medical coding, ended up transferring from the mail room to the medical coding department. So I'm telling you, it works. But those are my 3 reasons why you have not landed your first medical coding job. Which one of these 3 are you going to implement today? You need to take action. You need to be strategic and serious about landing your first medical coding job. So I hope this helps. I know you're ready to land your first medical coding job. So I wish you well on your career hunt. If you have any questions, any comments, any concerns, anything for me, definitely leave them in the comments. Y'all know I be in them comments. Y'all know I answer y'all questions. Y'all know I respond to you guys. So definitely leave them in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.